When shadows fall and spirits howl, zombies stalk and madmen prowl, monsters lurk and victims shiver. Thrills and chills they will deliver. Arise from your graves and get in the mood. It's time to join the spooky dudes.
I missed my cue by a little bit, but hey, we're here. All right. Hey guys, we're back. It's episode 14, I believe. And joining me tonight is an awesome filmmaker and wonderful dude, Dylan A. Young. What's up, man?
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
I'm glad to be talking to you because, like I said before, we've had a hectic day over here, so I'm like, just time to chill and talk about horror stuff.
Yeah, let's unwind.
So Dylan, I met last year at FrankenCon. He submitted a film called Better Safe Than Sorry, which I think somehow was the first film I watched for the festival.
Okay,
And
no.
it's great. I mean, I've now watched everything you sent me, which I watched that one again.
Okay.
And one note I had from that was that not all filmmakers, but I don't know how long you've been making movies. How long have you been in this kind of
I
scene?
started directing with Veronica, and that was in 2019. And I worked on my first feature in 2019, but I had acted in stuff before.
Okay. So like 4 years ish.
Yeah.
And you already have I mean, your style is your style. I think it takes people some time to get in their groove sometimes when they're making films. And your visual style, I can tell now if I see a movie, I bet that's a Dylan movie right there.
That's cool to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, no, dude, it's cool. That's one of the things I really enjoy because it's for those of you out there that don't watch a lot of indie films. Not every movie is 90 minutes long. Some of these guys are telling stories in 2.5 minutes, which is mind-boggling. The proprietors of Film Fest love to make filmmakers squirm by giving them ridiculous requests and short timelines. This year we're doing 12 minutes for Bride of Frankencon, which is almost feature length at this point compared to what we did last year. I think we were 5 minutes or 5 or 6 last year.
I think it was something like 5 or 6. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. I had a great time last year.
It was. Thank you for saying that. And
Yeah.
I told this before, but the film fest was sort of an afterthought. We when we conceptualized the con, we weren't like we're going to have a film competition. We're just like we're going to have Joe Bob and vendors and stuff. And then somebody said, "Why don't you have a film fest?" Like, yeah, I guess we could do that. And then as soon as we started getting film submissions, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I don't think we can not do that next time. Like we have to now. So
It's so essential because you get all these filmmakers coming and showing these films, and it connects a lot of people, and then people are sharing to their followers about your event and everything, and yeah, it's always a really cool time. I love going to film festivals.
it's a good thing for for the con. It's a good thing for the community, the filmmakers, and everybody. So we'll just keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 4 years of filmmaking going on. What the latest film you're working on? What's the title of that one?
Sorry for the mess.
Sorry for the mess.
Yeah, it's another short film that I'm doing, and it's essentially it's a little different than my normal style. It's kind of like a really serious drama that's like a suicide PSA essentially. And I was actually editing on it some today, and it's about ready to be sent off for color and score. So it's getting close.
That's awesome, man. And so your films typically range between like 2.5 minutes to, I think the longest one I've seen now is like 7. What's the ideal length of film for you to make? Like, or do you want to shoot something that's 90 minutes? Are you?
So I've got one in the editor in the edit right now called The Visitor,
Mhm.
and it's gonna come out at about 80 minutes. I've just taken my time with it, and I've been busy with other shorts, just trying to get more and more practice in.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I love making shorts, so I'll probably continue to do it throughout my career kind of for fun and just to like keep practice. And I like being able to like try new things with short films where there's not like a whole lot of pressure on the line. It's like, oh, well, it's a short film. We'll do it again or fix it or whatever. It's not like going to kill a feature schedule or something like that. And it's just fun to like try new equipment and try new processes and like different lighting and stuff like that. So I mean, ideally, I mostly just want to make features, though, and my goal is to do my second feature, shoot it sometime this fall.
Mhm.
I'm kind of open to seeing what some studios might want, but when it comes down to it, I really want my next film to be this like home invasion thriller film that I wrote a couple years ago. I've been kind of tweaking on the script recently, and you know, I think as far as like ideal length for films, when I'm watching them, I like a movie that's an hour and a half. I
Yeah.
don't like to like put down long movies though, because if you earn your runtime, you earn your runtime. But for shorts, like it really just kind of depends on the story that you're telling. But if I'm gonna watch a short, I think 10 minutes is a good runtime for a short.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. We're not going to mention the movie, but there was a movie we were talking about earlier. It's didn't earn its runtime, so it does happen, and they still get out there. So,
Yep. Some of them go to theaters.
yep, critically acclaimed.
Yep.
You guys can figure that one out just on your own. We're not going to say it. So what's? Oh, hold on. We got a comment here. 9.5 minutes is a good runtime for a short. There you go. You guys are pretty close.
Yeah,
Like 30 seconds off.
totally.
Was it The Irishman? Nope. I haven't seen that though.
I haven't either. And I think that one, I wonder if it did go to theaters because I know it was a Netflix movie, but I heard it's crazy long.
Uh-oh. Somebody got it. It's Richard.
Hello,
Thanks, Richard. We were just talking about you, Richard. Okay, so you've acted, directed. Do you make music as well?
Oh yeah, before I was in film, I was like heavily involved with like music and sometimes I wish I had more time to work on music stuff, but I think a lot of my time's just so focused on like watching films and filmmaking that it doesn't always feel like I'm able to. But one of these days I want to do like an album of like my own music because I was frequently in like cover bands or friends bands and it would just like mean a lot to me to be able to like write and release an album.
That's awesome. Well, if you can do the whole thing, like um, our buddy Rocky Gray, he's directing now. He does scores. He did the music
Nice.
that played before the show. He did that. So if you
Okay,
can
cool.
do all that stuff, it's very
Right?
helpful. I'm my own
Composer,
film company.
right? My composer that I use for my films, we've actually been making music together since middle school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, long-term buds.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I'm getting jealous of some of the things behind you. I see the Al Adamson
Yeah,
box set.
for sale if anybody wants it.
Oh yeah, you have been selling your stuff on Facebook, and I keep going, oh man, I want to buy something. And then I'm like, no, no, no.
It's tempting, huh?
Well, about 2 months before FrankenCon, it's like hoard all the money I can get. So things do happen. So
Right? Have you seen any of Al's movies or the documentary?
I watched the documentary.
The documentary's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
no, it was
wild.
really good.
I think that's one of David Gregory's best documentaries that he's done. I also really like the Island of Dr. Moreau movie documentary. Have you
Oh,
seen
the
that one?
Lost Soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one's wild.
It's better than the movie. Like,
I haven't even seen the movie yet.
oh no, that documentary is super. I really enjoyed it. The movies, I don't know, man. It seemed cool when it came out. Like I'm probably older than you. I'm like 41.
I'm 26.
Okay, so I'm definitely older than you. When that movie came out and I was a kid, it was kind of a big deal. They were like, "Oh, there's going to be all these, you know, animal people and, Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer." The movie was sort of just weird and
It's a weird
unintelligible.
time, seems like it. Yeah, from what I've seen through the documentary, it seems like a very odd movie.
And we wanted to like Richard Stanley, right? Like he came out with that Color Out of Space, which I really like. And then we can't like these guys for very long without some crazy
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
There will be a
yeah.
question related to that later, by the way. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I liked his movie Hardware, but yeah, it's a bummer. I don't like him as a person anymore.
Yeah, it happens, man. Well, okay. So what's been your favorite part of the process? Do you enjoy the writing the most, the directing? Just what's your favorite part of the filmmaking process?
Um, I'll give you kind of like an outside the box answer first. And my favorite part about all of it is public screenings and like
Okay.
hearing reactions of like, gotcha moments. Like when a whole crowd gasps, I'm like, this is why I do this. But as far as like my favorite part of the process, I like coming up with the ideas more than I like actually writing it because script formatting can be so tedious.
Yeah.
And as much as I enjoy editing and seeing the film really like come to life there in the end, my favorite part's just being on set and actually making it happen. And like as a director, it's kind of stressful and you deal with a lot of like setbacks and having to fix stuff out on the fly. But like that's like what you do it for, It's like I don't know, it's so much fun for me to just like be on set and be like creating.
Well, you're a very like personable guy, and I don't think you know any strangers. I think so. Anything that's not like a solid solitary process probably resonates better with you than just sitting there working on a script, I would assume.
I like my alone time too. And whenever I write, I do also like to try to be the only person in the room so I can like really focus on my thoughts and not like be distracted or anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, while I'm around people, it's like I want to talk, I want to pass the time, but like I do love my alone time too.
Okay. That's how you watched all those movies, right? Because
Yeah, yeah. I'm also on Letterboxd, just Dylan A. Young, if anybody's curious. I watch too many movies. It's fun to keep up.
I'm following you right now. I don't know
Okay,
why I wasn't already.
cool.
Maybe because I didn't know you were on there.
Yeah, I love Letterboxd. It's such a fun app.
And by the way,
What's
if
your
you guys, I think I'm just spooky dudes. Hold on.
What's your top
Oh,
4 Letterboxd?
my top four, my favorite films.
Yeah, the top
Oh
4.
no, my name on here is Internal Burn. It's
Okay,
not
cool. I'll
Spooky
give you a
Dudes.
follow back.
Night of the Living Dead 68.
Sweet.
The Blues Brothers.
Okay, cool.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, the
Nice.
74, right?
I
And
Yeah, some 74, 76. I can't remember though.
Pulp Fiction.
Nice. Good choices. That's
And
awesome.
here's the part. This is very fascinating podcasting, by the way, when you're trying to add somebody on here. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, no, Letterbox is awesome, man. I without it, I can't remember what I watch.
Yep.
So that's a big part of it.
Yep. Especially when you watch a lot of stuff, it's hard to keep track.
It is. Okay, so what's your top 4 then?
Okay, so my top 4. You ready for it?
Yes.
We got first place, True Romance, Tony Scott.
Yeah.
You ever seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, love that movie. Incredible
Written by
cast.
Tarantino, right?
It is. Yeah, it was like originally Natural Born Killers and it were part of the same like mega script, and then you like broke it into 2 movies. My second is The Florida Project by Sean Baker. If you haven't seen it,
I still
it's
haven't seen it.
great slice of life drama. And my third favorite is Rogero Deodato's Cannibal Holocaust.
Hey,
And
speaking of which, we got Carl Gabriel York at Bride of
yeah, that's
Frankencon.
right. Yeah, I've not met anyone from that film, and it's like my third favorite film. And fourth would be Possession from 1981.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. Okay,
Yeah.
I just watched that for the first time,
Yeah.
and I think I rated it 4 stars out of 5.
Mhm. Very
Uh, it is an interesting movie. I don't think that it's a fun movie, or I really don't even think it's entertaining. Like
okay.
it's kind of a bummer with the
Yes.
subject matter, but it is like this is just my interpretation, right? Like I thought it was beautifully shot.
Yes.
It's wonderfully acted, but
Incredibly acted. Yeah.
it is, it's like I mean, I guess everything's sort of like a metaphor for their like crumbling relationship. I mean, is any of that stuff actually happening, or is it just,
I
that's
think that it's all happening. I think that, like, he signed her up for those experiments, and that, like, that was the cause, and he didn't know about it because he didn't know what they were doing. So
mm,
everything kind of like goes from there, and the whole like crazy, like, large scale ending is kind of like because of what happened because of those experiments. If that makes sense. It's hard to explain without spoiling anything, though.
no, that's I liked it, but I can't
Yeah.
it's not a movie I would like I wouldn't just recommend The Greasy Strangler to anybody, right? There's specific people you recommend that to, and
Yeah, it's a
Possession,
really
same
weird
thing.
movie. Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. Yeah, and they're very different movies.
Yeah.
Fans of Lucy Strangler might not like Possession.
They're both gooey though. There's some gooey
They
body
both some
stuff.
dope stuff. Oh yeah,
It is beautiful though. I get it as a if you want to see Sam Neill being very different than he is in Jurassic Park, um,
yeah.
this is it.
Something interesting. Have you seen The Omen 3 with Sam Neill?
Oh, where he's Damien?
Yeah, that came out same year as Possession.
No, but now that I think of it, I mean, he didn't. You can kind of tell like an aging process, but
Yeah,
in those two, no, it's the same.
but it's like those are probably some of the two closest roles he's ever played, and he played them like at the exact same time.
Well, he didn't have to come out of character then. He just
Right.
went method and just stayed there.
Did two films.
Okay, so we got remind me one more time the movie we're premiering at FrankenCon
Oh,
or for the FrankenCon Film Fest. What's the movie we're showing there again?
yeah, so I've submitted The Kid's Revenge,
Kids
and
Revenge.
I made it for the Knoxville Horror Film Festival Grindhouse Grindout,
Right,
which
that's right.
is a mouthful, but I love it, and it was the coolest experience ever, and I can't wait to do it again next year. But they gave you 2 weeks to make a fake Grindhouse movie trailer, and it was like draft style, and I got the last pick in the draft. And I was debating between what was left. My favorite two picks were post-apocalypse film or spaghetti western. So I went with spaghetti western because I love spaghetti westerns, and I knew both options would be like a little bit pricey to make like a cool movie in those genres.
Sure.
But I had a blast. 2 weeks flew by. I was already signed on to like work on a feature film and work at a music festival during those 2 weeks. So it was kind of like I had a week. But we pulled it off, and we actually took home the grand prize from the festival. And afterwards, I kind of thought, and I was like, now that I'm not on a timer, I want to just like tighten this up a little bit and post and, throw it to some other festivals, because some of the people running that festival were like urging me to submit to other festivals. So I was like, I think I should. That's a good idea.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, man. I'm glad you didn't pick post-apocalyptic. I mean, those are cool. Where are you gonna find a desert though? A
Right.
desert or
No,
some barren
I would have
landscape.
totally done like found some like old abandoned trailer that nobody's been in for 20 years and just make it look all like it is the Midwest, and it's just like people who have been dead forever or something like that. Cause like that's the only way that you can do that like cheap and effectively. Kind of like how they did like The Last Man on Earth, the old Vincent Price movie that's like an earlier adaptation of I Am Legend.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
that's a really cool movie.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Okay, well, I've got some other questions here. Anything you wanna plug or anything before that? We'll do plugs at the end too, but anything you want to throw out there real quick?
Oh, we can hold off for now, and we can plug some other stuff later. I guess for right now, we'll throw out, if you're ever in the Louisville, Kentucky area, check out Fright Bites. See if Fright Bites is doing any events. They're Fright Bites LLC on Instagram. If you find them, it's a horror themed food pop up, and they are awesome.
Oh, I want to go. That's wait, how far is that from? Would you say Louisville?
Yeah, that's where I live, and it's 3.5 hours to Knoxville. And if you all want them at FrankenCon, hit them up. They'd probably be down. It's like if they could do hot food, cool. If they could do pastries, cool.
How far is that from Scarefest?
Scarefest is really close, and I think they're already going to be at Scarefest this year.
Oh, okay. See, I want to
Yeah.
go to Scarefest as a fan and just walk around instead of having a table.
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing pastries at Scarefest, so you should go snag one. They're really good.
Dixie's here. Dixie's like the nicest person, and I haven't even really talked to her yet. So thank you for stopping by, Dixie. And yes, Dylan is awesome. See, I knew it.
We all stand Dixie here. And also, Dixie apparently submitted to FrankenCon this year. So that's cool. I got to work on the project that Dixie submitted.
Yeah. Sorry, Dixie, if I wasn't supposed to spoil that. Dylan and I had a little pre-show chat. Okay. But, speaking of plugs, I got to plug Fright Rags, fright-rags.com. If you like,
I have too many Fright Rags t-shirts, and it's not actually possible because you can't have too many Fright Rags t-shirts.
Well, the fun thing is, Dylan, if you haven't used code SpookyDudes10 at checkout, you can to save 10% off your order.
I might have to save 10% on those new Evil Dead Rise collection they're about to drop.
And even if it's clearance items, I've tried it. It worked. Okay.
Nice.
I stopped registering, fake email accounts so that I could get my own discount.
I haven't done three of those.
I started suckering family members into ordering me stuff. But you guys can save 10% off your order. It's a one-time thing, of course. But go there, fill up your cart, fright-rags.com, SpookyDudes10 at checkout. And now I'll quit shilling. Okay, Dylan, now we get to I don't know what we call these questions, but there's the questions I ask everybody to get their answers, and they're always different answers.
Love it.
Okay, so the first one's a softball, okay?
Okay.
What got you into horror?
Okay, I think like the earliest memories that I can think of, like horror movies or something like that, is in, I think it's Pinocchio, when the kid gets turned into a donkey. Oh. That scared me so much. And then I remember there was also like the Ichabod Crane animated movie. Yeah. And I really like that one a lot. So like I think like if we're talking like super early on, it was like stuff like that. And then as I got older, I remember the first scary movie I got to watch was Scream, but like my parents just wanted to watch Scream. So they covered my eyes at like everything, like any bit of violence or anything like that. But I was still super into it. And I was still like into the story. But fast forward a couple more years and I got to see the original Halloween, and that's all she wrote.
That's a pretty good run.
Yeah,
dude. People don't there's something about those kids movies that have something that like was supposed to be benign but is actually sort of terrifying.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Pinocchio's a good one. Never gets brought up, but yeah, when a kid gets turned into a goat, that's terrifying. Monstro is pretty scary. Like it's there's a lot of scary imagery. Never ending story from when I was a kid. There's some spooky stuff in that. Legend. Yeah. I don't know if Legend's a kid's movie, but
not really, but it's still a good like family movie.
There was a weird line kind of blurred in the 80s too for like we had like Freddy Krueger squirt guns and Jason, just stuff it didn't make any sense to give to kids, but whatever.
Kids, right.
So what is our next question? I think you might have already answered it. So Scream, the first horror movie you remember actually watching?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. That's a good one too. I mean, Dylan is much younger than me. We just went over this a few minutes ago, but like I was born in 81. So, USA Up All Night was a thing when I could remember it. Joe Bob was on Monster Vision, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I felt like exposed to a lot of stuff before I even knew what it was. But then when Scream came out, man, I was almost a little annoyed because of the meta aspect of it. Because I was like, why are you shitting on Friday the 13th? Why? But it's a loving homage, and Wes Craven, we all love Wes Craven. So.
Oh yeah, I love Wes Craven. Shout out Red Eye, my favorite thriller movie.
The Cillian Murphy airplane thing.
Yes, I love that movie.
I need to watch it again. I watched it when it first came out. And I did not love it, but maybe now.
It's so much fun.
I don't know. Anyway, I think I was with my ex way back then, so probably there's some like deep-seated sad memory attached to it.
And they also just put it out on 4K. It never even got a Blu-ray. It skipped from DVD to 4K.
That's doesn't happen very often.
No.
All right. Favorite subgenre of horror, not just subgenre.
Oh, I was asked this recently, and I told the person I had to think about it, and then I didn't think about it. And I don't know what my favorite subgenre of horror movies is, but I mean, I think like it's easy for me to just say like maybe slasher movies because that's what I first saw. I first saw Scream, I first saw Halloween, but I think like in general, like it's hard for me to find like a great slasher movie, I think. So I think there's maybe more like great psychological horror movies, but I think partially that's due to like budgetary restraint issues that like non-psychological horror movies are more susceptible to. But yeah, maybe psychological horror. I like to, have my mind running and thinking about like what in the hell is going on here.
Okay. Do you consider Psycho a slasher movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Peeping Tom?
Oh yeah. Dude,
that movie's awesome.
That was the first one to use the POV killer perspective, right?
Yeah, and then on top of that, the camera is the weapon too. Like that's wild.
That part. I mean, it's a disturbing movie, man. Like,
yeah, for the era, it's really dark. I loved it, and it's like so well acted, so well shot.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. All right, this one should be easier then.
Okay.
This is the first time we're bringing negativity into our conversation, Dylan.
Okay.
Your least favorite subgenre?
That's really hard for me.
I think easy.
Well, see, it's like I'm pretty easygoing with movies, and like I like to just like have a good time when I watch a movie, whether I think it's actually good or bad.
Yeah.
But I would say sometimes I feel like I have just like a particular sense of humor. And like if you hit the humor button, I'm all in. And if you don't, I'm all out. So I guess I'd have to say horror comedies as my least favorite subgenre, because while some of my favorite horror movies are horror comedies, a lot of them just don't hit for me.
It's hard to do. And I think I'm going to have to go back and start a spreadsheet on people's answers, but like I think horror comedy is now the most common least favorite subgenre. I have to agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that.
I had one that was slasher. Somebody didn't like slashers.
Okay.
And it wasn't because like Friday the 13th sucks or Halloween sucks. It was because there's just a glut of things that do suck that are slashers. Because it's cheap.
What I was getting at. Yeah, for sure.
And then I think one or two people didn't like Rape Revenge, which I totally get.
Right.
That's not pleasant.
No.
All right. Now let's do some nostalgia here. Hopefully you can do one of these. Name a VHS cover that you remember from the video store.
Santa Claus.
Oh, with Goldberg?
The scary one where it's got like the peppermint candy stick that's like a sharpened tip on the end of it. I remember like specifically a lot of like the Christmassy like horror ones stuck out to me. Another one would be like Jack Frost that had a cool VHS tape. I know that there's like a lenticular slipcase from the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, but I can't remember if there was like a VHS that was lenticular. I think so.
Jack Frost for sure.
Nice.
Santa Claus, man, there's so many movies called Santa Claus.
So it was like CLAWS, I think.
Does it have Debbie Rochon in it?
I don't even remember, man. I've never even seen it. That was the first thing that came to mind when you asked about the VHS covers.
I think there's multiple Santa Claus
probably
movies.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I can imagine it, but I can't find it on Google. Someday we'll find it. That's a good one though. I mean, I'm a sucker for like holiday horrors.
Yeah.
Like I mean, they're not all good, but like I will give them all a chance. Go ahead.
Have you seen Christmas Bloody Christmas, the new Joe Begos movie?
I was about to mention that movie, and guess what? I didn't like it. That's the first Begos movie I haven't liked.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, dude. I love VFW. I thought Bliss was really good. VFW I loved, like really, really loved.
Okay.
Something about that movie just
didn't hit for you. Just, not your thing.
I think I liked the premise of the Robo Santa thing going nuts. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I thought that's cool, but like I think I didn't like anybody else in the movie. Like the conversations between the female lead and the her coworker guy about records and stuff. I was like, come on, dude.
Right.
Like,
well, it's like a lot of the characters are relatively unlikable.
Yes, that was my problem.
I think if you went back and almost kind of like laughed at the characters, you might enjoy the movie more.
Once the killing started with the Santa, I was like pretty impressed with that stuff. But I was just there's only so much the gore and the like completely saturated like Argento lighting can do for me.
Right. I mean, that can't make up for a story that you're not into.
Yeah. But I'll anything he comes out with, I'll check it out. I think he's a good filmmaker. That one just didn't jive with me.
Out of curiosity, did you see the new Jason Eisner movie, Kids versus Aliens?
No.
You should. I think it just came out on Blu-ray, but I saw both of those at Knoxville Horror Film Festival, and Kids versus Aliens is a lot of fun.
Kids versus Aliens, is it like a family movie, or is it like?
It's not, but some of it feels like it. Like some of the movie feels reminiscent of like Gremlins or Goonies, but it's definitely like adult language, adult themes, but it's like a blast. It totally feels like those like kind of family 80s movies, but just like not for that audience really.
Okay. Yeah. I love the cover.
If you're familiar with Hobo with a Shotgun.
Oh, is that who did that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely not a kid's movie.
Right.
Shotgun. I'll check it out. No, some reason it popped up in my feed or something one day, and I thought it sounded interesting. But I'm always like trying to find like this gateway stuff to get my kids in, like Monster House and.
Monster House is the best.
I thought that movie was going to be awful. It's really good. Like that is a great movie.
Like one of my favorite kids horror movies. Have you shown them The House with the Clock in Its Walls?
No, I haven't watched that one yet either.
That one's super good. Totally recommended.
It's Eli Roth, right? Like directing a kids movie, which is kind of weird, but
but it is awesome. Super fun.
Okay, we'll do that next time we do family movie night and I get to pick. We'll do that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. You'll have to let me know what you think of it.
Okay. Favorite era of physical media? And by era, I mean it's like beta, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray.
Can I say the future? It's always getting better. It's like as much as I love like holding VHSs in my hand and checking out all the cool cover art, it's like we're getting awesome cover art now on Blu-rays too, and a lot of it's like custom stuff. Like I don't know if you saw the new 4K City of the Living Dead release from Cauldron Films, but that's one of the coolest covers I've seen in forever. Yeah, I got a copy too. I grabbed it at Cinema Wasteland, but I think like currently, we're in the best era. Tons of movie releases coming out every week, the best possible quality you're going to see, the closest to the director's original vision, the closest to what it would have looked like in theaters originally. Like, you know, as somebody who didn't get to see all of these movies in theaters in the 70s and 80s, like I am relishing in what's happening right now.
No, it is good. The only thing it's bad for is my wallet.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
I think literally everybody on social media who I know buys physical media at all bought that Blu-ray, like from Cauldron.
Right. Oh, it's such a good one.
I haven't watched it yet. It's sitting on my shelf though, and
Have
it
you
is
seen the movie
gorgeous.
before?
No,
Oh no. Okay.
I've never watched it.
Have you seen the other Gates of Hell trilogy movies? Have you seen House by the Cemetery or The Beyond?
I've seen House by the Cemetery. I've seen Zombie. I've not seen The Beyond.
Okay, cool. So the order that they go in is City of the Living Dead, and then The Beyond, and then House by the Cemetery. I'm pretty sure.
That's weird because isn't
Yeah,
that like the smaller scale? House by the Cemetery is a pretty small
yeah, they're
footprint movie.
all relatively small scale. I'd say The Beyond is maybe the largest scale as far as like the fantastical like aspects of it. But yeah, I love those movies. They're super fun, super atmospheric.
Yeah, I talked to Jason Rudy. He hosts the Franco Observer podcast. It's like every episode's about a different Jess Franco movie. I think he's
Nice.
up to episode like 110 or something. I mean, just he's gonna go through the whole thing. But he's a filmmaker as well.
Okay.
And we talked about doing a Lucio Fulci podcast where we break down the different eras of Fulci because he's one of the most fascinating filmmakers there is. Because I mean, he did make a lot of movies with like eye trauma, right? But
yeah, him and Daria both.
like his catalog though is so varied. There's a movie called I'm probably gonna mess his title up. It's like A Touch of Death or
A Touch of Death. Yeah, that's one of the titles for one of his movies. Yeah.
is that the one with the guy who's like marrying all these widows and they all have like facial deformities and he's like eating them and it's sort of a comedy? Is that
Okay, I
something
think
like that?
yeah. So it's Voices from Beyond, and that one I'll get confused sometimes. But yeah, you're right. That's the one because that's a weird one, and it almost reminded me. Well, rather, the house that Jack built almost reminded me of that movie a little bit. There was like a few moments that I was like, "There's some similarities there."
Oh wow! See, I haven't watched that one yet either. Like
Oh, you
I'm a
gotta
little
watch
behind
that.
on that stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that house that Jack built's great. But it's interesting about the Franco Observer. I've not listened to that. What is your favorite Franco movie?
Female Vampire.
Okay, cool.
First one I watched. I don't think it's the best one. I think his sort of like most normal movies, like his less porny movies, are probably his best. I think like
Yeah,
Vampiros Lesbos, despite the title, is actually like a pretty great Dracula story.
yeah,
She Killed in Ecstasy.
that's my favorite.
It's great, dude.
Yeah,
And then Venus and Furs is one of the weirdest
I need to
movies
see
I've
that.
ever seen, but it's super good. Like, so
Love the
that's your
song. Haven't seen the
oh,
movie.
there is a scene in it involving a lot of mirrors,
Okay.
and it is one of the most like if you watch some of the Franco movies, particularly the stuff he made closer to his death, you
Okay.
would probably be like, how did a dude who made this crappy, whatever insert title here, make this beautiful shot with all these mirrors? And
Yeah,
it's
it's crazy.
yeah, that my wife can't stand Jess Franco movies, and I've subjected her to I don't know how many. I think we started with Barbed Wire Dolls, and she was like,
Okay.
"What the f- is this?"
Yeah, he's a wild dude.
Yeah, and then we watched Venus and Furs, and she was like, "That was actually pretty good." And I'm like, "See, I told you you could make
They're all
movies."
over the place.
And
Yeah.
he made like
Like
200
Fulci's are
films.
even more all over the place. And they both had like a very prolific output.
Yeah. Well, Devil's Honey was very
That one's weird, yeah.
strange.
That
We
one,
watched
like,
it.
I was shockingly invested in the drama, and I felt so bad for the dude's wife, like, or girlfriend.
I mean, just the You just have to show people that saxophone scene, and that's how you get a temperature for like how far can I push this person? Like, where do we go from here?
And it's not like the most explicit scene ever, but it's super weird. So it just gives you an idea of the vibe.
So sort of, yeah, sort of uncomfortable for sure.
Right.
Let's see. Well, I know the answer to this, but do you still collect and watch movies on physical media?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy answer. Okay, here's where we get into the controversy, Dylan. Okay.
Okay.
Now, lately on social media, one of the big things that just I cannot get away from, and I guess part of it's my fault for looking at it, is AI generated art.
Okay.
And a couple episodes ago, I had John Devlin on, and he actually makes AI generated art, and he's a independent filmmaker who made Erecting a Monster, which was part of
Frankencon.
the Franken Film Fest. So
Yeah.
I think he's a little more pro AI art than I am. But what are your thoughts on it? Like, especially when you're feeding the machine other people's artwork to kind of get.
So, I mean, I feel like with a lot of controversial topics that people discuss, as far as morals, politics, it's like there just needs to be some kind of like safeguards put in place to make sure that there's like some rules about like what's wrong and what's right and what's acceptable to do with it.
Sure.
I think that it's like really cool to see how fast it's progressing. I was actually at a short film screening group recently, and I saw someone who made a music video, and I think he said he made like 30 different AI prompts. And he took the whole music video and broke it down into like every frame, like thousands of frames, and ran every single frame of the movie through an AI generator and then put it all back together. And it's crazy. It's just like a punk rock show, and everybody looks like demons and zombies and everything, but like every single frame looks different. So your mind's like constantly being tricked by it. And it's really cool to see like how people are able to get away with like using it as a tool for their creativity. But, whether or not it's immoral to just do in general, I think that I'd have to like look more into it because there's a lot of different stances about it. But as far as like using other people's work and like, trying to use it to copy people's styles, probably not acceptable. But at the same time, I'm like, well, if that artist died 1,000 years ago, I feel like maybe that's okay. I don't know.
Well, maybe their art's public domain at that point.
Right. Yeah. No, it's all very interesting.
I guess where I draw the line is when you're making money. Like, it costs money to generate this stuff. Like, they have to pay money to Midjourney or whatever the AI is to build it, right?
Yeah.
And I guess my problem is when, like, there's a lot of the graphic art friends that I follow they're not filmmakers, but they make prints and posters and stuff.
Yeah.
They're
I
like
follow them too.
they are super against that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because what's happening is there's an artist from Atlanta, goes by Art Attack.
Okay.
Like, her art is basically like, do you remember Lisa Frank, like the neon pink and purple? It's like satanic Lisa Frank. It's like Baphomet with pink and purple, and
I think I've seen some of that stuff. Yeah.
Her art's great, but like, I guess people have already copied her stuff and started selling it and stuff like that.
That might be what I saw. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I guess, being someone that works at for a convention, like, we have a lot of artists that come and sell their prints and stuff. And I know sometimes it's like, it's a poster of Jason, but it's a poster that a guy sat there and drew it out. It's not a copy, he doesn't own Jason, but for me, there's sort of this gray area. Maybe I would feel differently if I owned Jason and you were selling posters of you drawing Jason, but
right.
There's a difference between you just typing stuff and feeding a couple of pictures into an AI and you drawing it with your hand. So
right, because it's like whether or not you own that intellectual property that you drew, you do own that art no matter what.
Sure. All right. Now, one more controversial question, then we'll get back to the fun stuff. Okay. This question gets a different response every time, so I just like hearing the responses. What are your thoughts on the whole, like, let's just say cancel culture, right? And canceling, but in particular, like a movie. And the example, not canceling the movie from being made, but canceling the movie in like the court of public opinion. So the example I give everybody is like Victor Salva that directed Jeepers Creepers, right? He's a
Right.
convicted pedophile,
Right. Yeah.
made those movies afterwards. And so like once I learned that, I stopped consuming anything he worked on, including
Right.
Jeepers Creepers, which is a good movie. So, what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
Yeah, it's like Jeepers Creepers is a good movie. It's very entertaining. The sequel even has its moments. I think that it's an interesting topic to discuss. I think whenever it comes down to it, cancel culture should just be like accountability culture and just like, holding people accountable for their actions. I think whenever it comes down to it, as far as like separating the art from the artist, one thing that I like to consider going into it is like, does the art reflect negative intentions of the artist? Because if so, I don't think I want to be consuming that.
Right.
I think, in the situation with Clown House, a lot of that stuff was happening on set and was being filmed and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't think I really want to watch Clown House. And at the very least, I'm not going to pay for it. You know what I mean? I don't want money to go to supporting these artists. And, whenever they get to continue making money and making films, it's always disappointing. Like Sam Rockwell, I'm pretty sure the actor, and I think another actor had done like picketing against him after the Clown House debacle. And they were both blacklisted from Hollywood for a while. And it's just, it's crazy to see the time frame of the way that things change and, how back in the day people couldn't even express distaste for pedophiles, essentially. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I guess at this point, if I want to watch Jeepers Creepers, I can do so. I don't,
like,
I mean, I don't like
or something,
Yeah. I don't like the idea of like somebody going, well, it bothers me that X happened and then sort of pressuring somebody not to watch it or something, like if somebody wants to watch the Cosby Show, I'm not going to say, I may tell them my opinion on Bill Cosby and his actions and stuff, but I'm not like, I can't be your friend.
Material, right? But it's like if it was some stand-up show that he had done where he was making jokes about like sexual assault, it's like, all right, obviously don't want to watch that.
Yeah. There's like some line between the art and the artist. And I think we all kind of have a different tolerance for where that line is crossed.
Absolutely.
It is. I just like hearing about everybody's different takes on it. So far, everybody's had a different answer. So
yeah, for sure. Cause it's like a whole scale of like, what specific things are going to bother people.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now this back to good stuff here. Your favorite costume or mask from any horror movie?
Ooh. I haven't thought about that in quite a while. Favorite costume or mask in any horror movie?
Or I guess it could be a prop. Somebody mentioned a prop one time.
That's really tough. I mean, I think that I've just like got to keep it simple and just say like the original like William Shatner mask from the original Halloween movie. It's like it's iconic. It's like one of the first images that come to a lot of people's minds when they think about what a horror movie is.
Oh yeah. Do you think that they had any idea when they did that?
Not at all.
It's just
like they had no idea. They literally were just like trying to throw that bit of it together last minute. Like, well, not necessarily last minute, but it's like it wasn't designed from the ground up. That's why it was based on a William Shatner mask,
Yeah. I watched a video of Tommy Lee Wallace and Sean Clark going through the process of what he did,
Yeah.
And they're standing in a small room. He's cutting the eyes wider. He's doing this and that. He starts spray painting in the room. And I'm like, yeah, that's horrible for you. Like, what are you doing?
That's funny.
There's no ventilation. Get out of there.
Right. I always think that's so funny. I'll be on sets every once in a while and somebody will be spray painting like inside. And I'm like, I'm going to go step outside real fast.
It's not good for you, man. You only get like one set of lungs, right? You need to keep them healthy. All right. 3 films that every horror fan should see, or 3 desert
Ooh.
island films, either one.
Well, those would be totally different. As far as
Okay.
every horror fan should see, I
Do
would
that.
probably say like, start with like Night of the Living Dead, the original, and then watch the original Halloween, and then watch the original Evil Dead. I would say those are like kind of like a good kind of like basis of like 3 different kind of types of horror films, and like one of the best ones from each kind of type of films.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And it's also 3 different geographic locations.
Yeah, for sure.
You got Pittsburgh, and you got Jersey, right? For Halloween, it was really shot in Jersey, right? It wasn't really shot in. It was in Arizona.
Everybody claims different things, but I can't remember where it actually was.
I can't remember either. And then Tennessee, yeah, for Evil Dead,
right?
And Michigan. I think part of it was shot in Michigan and part in Tennessee. Okay. I went to high school with a kid, and his dad was one of the producers. Because I grew up in Morristown.
So. Was it like Rob Tappert's kid?
No. What was his last name? Holt. Something Holt.
Okay.
He said, I don't have any proof of this. He said his dad was the one that was pushing the swing into the house.
The swing moment's so creepy. It sets the tone.
The kid was kind of a bully, but whatever.
He was probably lying.
he showed me the movie for the first time when I was
That's awesome.
a kid. My parents were like, yeah, it's fine, go ahead and watch it, but just that ankle part's really awful. Like,
yeah, it's such a shock too.
Oh yeah, man, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. What advice would you give to an up and coming artist in the horror genre? So for you, a filmmaker, somebody that wants to make a movie and they haven't even started on square one yet.
Get on Facebook, search your own state and like filmmaking group, join it, make a post saying you want to get into filmmaking and you don't know how, and just try to get on some sets and just observe and learn. Like, if you can't afford to go to film school, which a lot of people can't, I wasn't able to, that's how you learn. You just go do it, and like, you might start off as a production assistant. You might not have a title. You might just be some dude standing on the set, but you can just take in everything you can until you feel confident that you can go make a movie.
That's good advice. I mean, and this is not the most tight-lipped group of people, man. Like all the filmmakers I've met have been very generous with their time, and
you can learn like anything on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last one here. What are your thoughts on bootlegging out of print titles? I really could have put that back with the physical media question. I should probably rearrange that.
Oh no, I think that's interesting. Bootlegging out of print titles.
Because there's a lot. We know there's a lot of companies that do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy that surrounds this. I think in some situations, it's kind of fine. I think that it really depends on the situation, though. If you're in some kind of situation where, nobody knows how to get a hold of the producers of the movie anymore, and it's probably never going to get another re-release, boot it to all hell. You know what I mean? Make sure people get to see that movie. Like, I've got arm's reach away. Here's a boot of Ken Russell's The Devils from 1971. I love this movie. I'm glad I have it in my collection. And if the production company that made it is unwilling to release it like they say they are, why not? They're not willing to do it. I want to watch it. But, it's a slippery slope.
Right. There gets to be a point where it's like, all of a sudden, the Andy Warhol, flesh for Frankenstein, blood for Dracula, for Dracula, like, can't find them anywhere. We got a laser disc rip or whatever. And then all of a sudden, Vinegar Syndrome's like, hello.
Oh yeah. Well, and Severin did Blood for Dracula.
Right.
Shout out Severin Films and Vinegar Syndrome, great companies.
Taking all my monies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, to me, it's more sad that like You know, like reading about London After Midnight, or
When things get lost.
whatever lost film you can think of off the top of your dome. That's the only one that really like stands out in my mind. But that's sad that someone went through all that. Not just someone, a bunch of people went through a lot of effort to make something, you know, really cool, and
Yeah.
it's gone. You know, that's a bummer, man. So it takes so much effort to make a 2.5 minute movie, a 5 minute movie, a 60 minute movie, anything, you know, like it's a shame that there's some things we're never going to get to see. So,
Right. And so many films in the digital era that no one ever got to see because some hard drive corrupted before the movie was done.
dude,
That would be like the lowest low. It's still not happened to me. It's like one of my biggest fears.
just these things now are dirt cheap. These little USB sticks, backup after backup after backup.
Right.
All right, Dylan. Well, thank you so much for you know, joining me on the show tonight. And
yeah, had a great time.
thanks, man. And everybody go check Dylan out. On the ticker below, we've been running his socials. It's Dylan A. Young on Instagram. And also you can check out videonasties.com, and that's NASTYS. See, I had to look at it because I was like, my brain doesn't
register it that way, right?
It doesn't want to spell it that way.
I didn't want it to get like buried in results.
No, it definitely stands out for sure.
Right.
Oh, and you got a Herschel Gordon Lewis pin. Okay, I need that. I should get that for my mom. She'll be like, "Who the hell is this?"
Who's this old man?
Let me show you 2000 Maniacs. You're gonna know what's up.
Oh yeah, love that movie.
Yeah, dude, that's my personal favorite from him. Which one's yours?
You know, I really lean towards that one. I really also like Blood Feast, Scum of the Earth, The Wizard of Gore, and Color Me Blood Red. Those are like probably my favorites of his. But honestly, 2000 Maniacs was wild. And I heard since that Arrow Blu-ray came out that they finally found the camera negative. So I've just been like waiting for like a good release of that to come out, because as great as the Arrow scan looks, the quality of the materials they were working with wasn't great.
No, that sounds awesome, actually.
Right? Fingers crossed. 4K 2000 Maniacs.
I don't know. Something about that doesn't sound right.
Right.
Okay, so what about the Wizard of Gore remake? What'd you think of that? The Suicide Girls.
Oh, I wanted to see the Crispin Glover one. Yeah, I've not seen that.
I thought it was pretty good. It was cool that they worked in the Suicide Girls, and you know, at the time.
I just knew that Crispin Glover was in it, and I just think that dude's wild. So I just wanted to check that out.
I want to meet him, but I'm a little scared. You know,
I think that's a very fair consideration.
Like, there's a lot of people I want to meet, but I'm also like, do I
really want to be in the same room as this person?
Is he going to kick me in the face? All right, Dylan. Well, thanks so much, man. Everybody go check out Dylan. He's got help me out. The Kid's Revenge. The Kid's Revenge. The poster looks awesome.
Thank you.
I love that art, dude.
Oh, it's the best. Shout out Holly Matney.
Holly Matney. Okay, I need some art from Holly.
And Holly's done a lot of my posters.
They're all great, dude.
Thank you.
If you guys are aspiring filmmakers and you're in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, Dylan's not even super close. I mean, he's driving in from Kentucky, right?
Yeah, I'm coming in from Louisville.
Get your film submitted for the FrankenCon Film Fest, the Bride of FrankenCon Film Fest, frankencontn.com. Click Film Fest. Send me an email. I know a guy. I'll get you in there. Okay. And that's it, Dylan. Thanks, man.
For sure. Take care, man. It was good talking with you.
You too. Everybody else, stay spooky, my dudes.